All right. Today we're looking at a property in Raleigh, North Carolina. If you haven't seen the podcast I've done with Mike Caggiano, he's a super smart investor and specializes in condos, HOA properties. And this is interesting, right? Because this is an area where, yeah, you're paying an HOA monthly fee, but then you're also foregoing some of your maintenance items, such as whether or not you have to pay for a roof repair all in one go, such as whether or not you have to pay for
Daddy,
siding. Hi,
Daddy,
Filet.
please help me. Please hit me with the pillow upstairs, please.
Yeah, can you wait 10 minutes?
No, that's going to be too long.
No, it's not. You gotta be patient, okay? We're
Daddy,
impatient after I'm done, okay?
Daddy,
Oh.
Daddy, please make please make this up
Huh? Why you go up?
because I like to. It's fun. Why?
And that's it, okay? I gotta be able to talk, okay? Can you go play with grandma for 1 second?
Hello.
Okay. All right, go play with grandma for 1 second, and then when dad finishes looking at this deal, we'll do it together, okay? Let me tickle you.
It's a monster.
I'm gonna tickle monster. Okay. Hey, can you?
Want to try?
All right, so back to it. Today we're looking at 2221 Valley Edge Drive, Unit 105. This one caught my eye because there was a price change right here, and it looks like they bought it for 150. Tried to rent it out for 1900. Didn't get any takers. Or they just didn't go for a thing. Then tried to list it for 295. So they try to double their investment in 6 years. That's kind of crazy. I don't think the market has doubled in 6 years. That's a little aggressive. So, hey, it was pending, then it fell out again. So, hey, who knows what happened and why it fell out of escrow, right? So, here's where we are. What I'm going to do is I'm going to look up a couple of factors. The first thing I need to look up is what is my HUD FMR. Now, if you look up Raleigh Housing Authority payment 2020, payment standards 2025, you're going to see this spreadsheet that comes up, and it's going to get by bedroom count, by zip code, what your rent ceiling is. It says 2262 for is that a three bedroom? Three bedroom. Now, the thing is, I want to look up the 2026 numbers now because tomorrow is, hey, the new year. And when I look up HUD FMR, click on the first link, I go down to this area where it says access small area FMRs. That allows me to quickly understand, hey, where are my rents currently looking like? Okay. And if I look at FY 2025 small area FMRs, I look up North Carolina. Where's North Carolina? And I look at Wake County. 27614, and I can see that in 2026 it goes up to 2330. So there's room that's going up, right, compared to what I saw right here in 2764. So it went up almost $100, just call $70. Okay. Now, then I need to go look at, okay, well, what's my reasonable rent? And there's a test called the rent reasonableness test, which essentially states that you can't charge more rent to someone simply because they are a voucher holder. So they're going to look at comps in that area and see what they're renting out for. So when I plug in this address, plug in bank account, I see that one, the rent in this area is roughly around 1719. That's for 25 units within a 0.13 mile radius. So not surprised. That's probably why this property didn't get any takers when it was trying to get rented out at 1900. All right, they dropped it at 1850, still nobody. 1800, still nobody. So that kind of falls in line with what I'm seeing in the data. So for me, right now, I'm gonna underwrite with two numbers. One is 1719 for this property. And then the second number I'm gonna show is like, okay, well, what if I get a higher rent at like 2050, right? Which is still below the rent ceiling of 2330. But because I'm not including utilities, you have to back out some of the utility allowances from there to make that work. So that's why I have it right here at 1719. All right. So now that I got these factors in here, let me go ahead and look through the properties photos and see what needs to get renovated here. So as I'm doing this, I'm gonna start plugging some numbers there. So if you guys want to do this alongside with me, just go to affordablehousing.io, not .com, go to the get deal analysis tool, and that's the fastest way for you to get a copy of the spreadsheet. All right. And here's what I'm going to do. Plug in the address, plug in bank account, 269,900 in B4. For my renovations, honestly, this property looks pretty good. I mean, I don't need to do any flooring in this property. It looks like it's pretty much ready to go. It looks like they staged it too. It looks like a nice stage, nicely staged property. Good for them. Now, this is a very oversized bedroom. I feel like I almost put like a frame right here and get like additional bedroom there. Maybe not because the bathroom's right there, but hey, that's probably a smaller bedroom right there. Where is the other bedroom? Oh, where's the third bedroom? Unless these two are the two bedrooms right here. Boom. No, these must be the same bedroom, right? It looks like the same. Oh no, it's different. See that outlet's over there and that outlet's over there. So these are two. So these are the two bedrooms. Okay, great. So now I see how small they are for the bedrooms. Okay, so now that I got these properties in here, what I then want to do is, well, if I rent this property out, I pretty much don't have to do any renovation on this property. It looks pretty turnkey for the most part, and I don't need to put aside any money for the roof because again, it's covered by the HOA this time. So in my G6, I don't have anything like I used to have for my single family property analysis. For touch-up paint, I'm probably do about 250 square feet of touch-up paint just in case there's something that needs to get touched up. Don't need to do any flooring work. The flooring looks fine. Probably just some cleaning that needs to get done here. For my toilets, I would like to replace them with high pressure assisted flushes so I don't ever get any clogged toilet calls. That's my personal preference, but I just don't ever want to get a call for a clogged toilet because that's literally how you spend all your time or burn all your time, frankly, to be honest with you. And that time and energy that you waste on fixing the toilet, it's so not worth it. All right, so now I'll probably put a cage on my HVAC because I've had one stolen before. I don't want to get stolen, but it seems like a relatively decent neighborhood, but hey, no harm in putting a cage over it. That's just my personal preference. So that gives me $3,800 rehab, which isn't that much, right? And I'm gonna delete this plus 10,000 because that was my last assumption for adding some walls and stuff and getting permits for the additional bedroom. Now for my income rents here, was gonna do underwrite first is 1719. I'll do 2050 later. Okay. Now for my taxes and my insurance expenses, I'm going to pay on a calculator, get 192 right here, plug that into B28. I got home insurance of 121, so it equals 121 times 1.2, and I'm multiplying by 1.2 because I'm assuming that this property is estimated for 121 for a home insurance policy because it's a primary residence property. If it is used for an investment property, chances are it's going to be used and be more expensive. So that's why I'm multiplying by 1.2. My HOA is 216. And so my maintenance, usually I put about 10%. But because I have an HOA expense already set aside, I'm putting it at 6% right now because there's some maintenance, it can't be zero. And don't ever trust anybody that says, hey, there is zero maintenance associated with the property because that makes no sense at all, right? Don't ever trust these gurus where they say, hey, what's my cash flow is simply my rent minus my debt service. That makes no sense at all. See, don't be that person that underestimates their expenses and overestimates your profitability because you're just lying to yourself, right? You know, if you're a long-term buy home investor, you know at some point something breaks in a home. So you have to include something. All right. Now, for my property management expenses, I got 10%. I got 5% from vacancy expenses. Now, you can self-manage your property, and that could be all margin. But if you don't underwrite with some property management expenses right now, then you can never have enough margin to offload those responsibilities to somebody else, which is why I think it's really important for you to consider at least using it. All right. Now, let's go ahead and do this. Now, for my interest rate, I got 6%. 6.5%. That's what someone just told me to close that with the 25% down. So my down payment is going to be equals to in E19 is going to equal to F19 times B4, which is my asking price I just plugged in. I had 2.5% for holding costs. I got $3,800 for my renovations. So if I rent this property as a 3-bedroom for $1,719, that's not enough. Right after my expenses, I'll be losing $475 a month. It's probably not ideal for most people, right? You mean you self-manage a property that's not enough to cover the spread. Now, that was assuming a purchase price of 269,900. 269,900 with a $3,800 rehab, 2.5%, 25% down, 6.5% interest rate. So let's go ahead and mess around with numbers. What do I need to buy this property for if I'm looking for an 8% return here in E9? If I lower this to 180 grand, would that give me a deal? No, because 6 months is too high. 140 grand, 120 grand. Doubt they'll ever go for it, but at least now you know. 1719, I have to buy for 120 grand, assuming everything else stays constant. Because now I can cash flow 236 a month with a 7.7% cash and cash return that rounds up to 8%, right? Just roughly speaking. Now, I'm not saying 8% is a magical number, right? This is not investment advice. I'm not soliciting any investments on this call. Just simply showing you how to adjust up and down the numbers to figure out if something is a deal for you, right? Now, here's what we'll do next. What if I'm able to get $2,050 for rents? What am I willing to pay for the property now? See how this cash and cash return just jumped? Maybe now I'm willing to pay 170, 160. So now I'll say, hey, I'm willing to pay 160 grand for the property if I'm going to get 2050, 160 grand, 3,800, 25% out, 6.5% interest rate. 308 is a return with a 7.7% cash and cash return. Now, let's say for some reason you can get all the way up to 2150, right? Which, barring utilities and stuff, that's probably the max you're gonna get, not covering utilities. If you get 2150, what can you pay for this property? Extra $100 in rent gets you 172. Extra $100 rent gets you from 160 to 172. Now it's 2150 in rent. So now you know what your buy box looks like, right? You might say, hey, let me just go make some offers on these properties now at 330, because now I can cash with $330 a month with a 7.8% return. So it's a $3,800 rehab again, 24% down, 6.5% interest rate, and there it is, right? There it is. Now here's one more thing. What if I can turn this property into a 4-bedroom? And I'll be conservative here, right? I turn this property into a 4-bedroom. Now I'm getting 2364, right? 2364. Let's say I add a bedroom here, and it costs me 10 grand to frame it. That gets me a total of, what can I do? See how my return just jumped up to 9.8. So now I might be able to pay 190. Yeah, 190 grand. It still rounds up. So 4-bedroom, 2364, right? $414, 7.5% cash and cash return. But now I can buy for 190 grand because I added extra bedrooms, right? And this is how I go about analyzing this entire process. Okay, I have the contractor network here, so I can execute on that. Now let me do one more thing. Let's do best case scenario. Best case scenario. And all of a sudden now, if I follow my HUD FMR at 3120, what if I can get $2,800 right? Because it's one, I'm still not including utilities, so I gotta back it out. But now I can get $2,800 rent. Well, now what am I willing to pay? In that case, I can pay up to 239 grand, right? Because now I'm cash flowing 523 a month, and I got 8% return. But now I'm willing to pay 239 grand, which is a little closer to what the asking price is, but still lower. But now you know, how do I come up with the scenario or the right plan for me to figure out for the same property for my rents based on what I think I can get. This is the price I'm willing to pay to achieve my X target return. And I think that's probably the most important skill that you have to learn, is learning how to pick out which leverage you can pull to figure out if something is a deal or not. All right. Hopefully, this is helpful everybody again. I hope you stay consistent with me. I hope you analyze the deal every single day like I do. Because at some point, someone's going to ask you, hey, why do you think this is a deal? And you can go back and tell them, hey, I know this is a deal because I've been looking at properties for the past 824 days. Might that give you some confidence that you know what you're doing? All right. Hope you all have an amazing New Year's Eve. Spend that quality time with your family and friends today because that's what life is all about. Have a good one, everybody. I'll see you all